Hello, this is Jin Speed, and I thought I was gonna start a Let's Play because I'm bored and I have nothing to do. So let's play the Stanley Parable. I don't know how to pronounce things correctly. Whatever, let's just jump into it. The end is never. The end is loading. It's already loading the end. I'm already gonna beat the game. Sweet. Loading the game, and I've already won. I feel accomplished. Yep. Still loading. Yeah. Yep, this is wonderful. At least we know the end is loading. Oh, never mind, game's not dead.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year.
That sounds incredibly boring.
Others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley.
Maybe that
Something
was the
he would
Parable.
never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
I want to sharpen pencil. Hey look, I closed the
But
door.
Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy.
Help, 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 I'm
Stanley
not happy.
waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon.
I can't jump. No, seriously, we disabled
Now,
it.
this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
It comes in a loading screen. Why are you locked? I don't want you. The door's unlocked.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
I can't read that. Clearly we're running on old computers though. I like work. I just hate my boss. I hate your boss too, man. Wait, that's my boss. All the doors are locked. email. Everyone disappeared. I'm typing. I'm still typing. What does it say? Waiting input. Input received. Cool. Locked. 420. It's locked. This door, I'm gonna shut it behind me. The door's locked. 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 Closable, right?
When Stanley came
Yeah.
to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Actually,
This was
I
not
entered
the
door
correct
on my
way to
right.
the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Actually, I went on the door on the right first. You're wrong. All of the doors are locked. Stop being locked.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room.
Found a notepad.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Documentary. Coffee nut.
Yes, really, really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the
Nope.
first open door on his left.
Nope. Nope. Actually, no, I didn't. Still no. Still no.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
You're welcome. Can I fall down? Do not jump from the cargo while I was over the ocean.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Be quiet.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Be quiet. Let's do this door.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
Phone. Do I get to say anything? I'm...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Oh, what?
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
What's going on here?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
How'd I... What? Press... 6.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Z.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
9.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Press T. Ooh, there's a TV.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he
Where's the
imagined that
TV?
one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth.
Let me watch
The
TVs.
thought excited him terribly. So, he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At
Where's my
last,
boys?
choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere
look at the black
thought
screen.
that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
X.
As he wandered
Making
through
dinner.
this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
I made a game. Cool. My kid's a story.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head,
The
he
door
relived
changed.
it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
I love you.
But there is no answer.
Wait.
How could there possibly be?
Huh?
In reality, all he's doing
What?
is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed.
good.
The
Take
longer he
life, though.
spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
I'm not interested at all. Shut up.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world, he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
You know, I'm just not gonna push anything and see what happens. I'm just not gonna push anything. Because I'm going to prove a point. I don't want to be at work in the morning. I can fall asleep like this. Just the sound of the clock ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking. And oh god, this is boring. Let's advance the plot.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
I question everything. I press 7.
I suppose I can't. Not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again.
Please die.
Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button. And
I pressed V. I died. I pressed V to die. I died! The game asked me to die, and I died. Why am I back here? Is it... Am I starting the game
his
over?
co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it?
Oh.
Is this Stanley's office?
Oh, never mind. Whatever, I'm just gonna keep going. Ben here, Ben here, Ben here, Ben here, shut up. I died. I died, and I'm just living my afterlife, which is for some reason
When
the same
Stanley
thing.
came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I've been down the right. Let's go down the left this time. It sounds like I'm typing on a keyboard really fast. I'm serious.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Talk
Feeling
less,
a
do
wave of
unbelievably
disbelief,
amazing work.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Office party. Did we miss the office party? God dang it. Not cost efficient. Get Chris out of the bathroom closet. Unfinished. Right, next day's agenda. Reflect. Everyone is unique, you most of all. Number of slides on this slide. Charts, slides, charts and slides. What is hot? Profits, 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 actual profits. Profits, profits. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. Pretty much all of them. Oh god, please no. Please no more charts. Stop. I'm going. This is trippy. I'm just gonna shut the... Chris! Get out of the broom closet! Oh, he's
Stanley
not even
stepped
in
into
the
the
broom
broom
closet.
closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
I was gonna get Chris out of the broom closet, but Chris isn't even in the broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Except I went downstairs.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Why
did
can't I
doors
see my
close
feet?
automatically behind him?
Why do they
wherever
do
he
that?
went?
Stay open.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
Who
No,
spilled
Stanley
coffee?
said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
Well, I'm
This
dead,
is all
so...
a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then
Whoa!
he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not
I
woken
could
up.
do this all
How was he
day.
remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
What is up with these
Now the
rooms?
voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange.
Please help me.
I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their
Be
dreams,
quiet.
the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
Get out of my head!
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life.
Well then why are these
Now,
rooms
hearing the
repeating
voice
if I'm...
speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream.
I'm
I
dead.
wish
How
it
am
to
I
be
dreaming?
over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
I am Stanley. I am not okay. I am dead. Oh, I'm in the same place.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am
Help.
real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of
what?
work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Help.
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Oh, so nobody cares about me because I am Stanley and I am insane. And then I was loading. And I'm back at my office. That's enough of the Trip Fest for today. I'll be back later.